So what does being on a grind mean to you?
Do you want the honest answer?
100% that.
So grind, I think there's power in language, and grind seems like hard work. And I feel like it sounds like a lot of resistance.
Okay.
And I think when you have a lot of resistance, you can be working hard and it could be like pushing a boulder up a hill. So for me, I used to always be like, you gotta hustle, you gotta grind. And the moment I relaxed and sat in my stillness and grounded myself, more things flowed easily.
Okay.
You know, so I'm not saying you don't have to take action, but I think, you know, the word grind to me, even though it can be positive that you're grinding and working hard, I want to move away from that struggle, struggle story. Does that make sense?
Definitely. So how could we redefine and shape that word grind? How do we make it not negative? What were some of the processes for that shift?
I started a business and I was also learning a business, and the acceleration of my ambition of what I wanted to do, I just didn't have the skills there. So, you know, I was doing both.
Yeah.
When I got to a certain point in my business, in my platform, my pilot and stage right, in the second, third year, I kind of like knew what I had to do.
Okay.
It's knowledge based,
Yeah.
and the only way you can have the knowledge or learn is to keep educating yourself, reading books, reading entrepreneur books. You know, I've read like 100 books this year.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, on Audible though, so I listen to 1 or 2 books a week.
Okay.
You know, it's how you shift it. It's your perception of things, isn't it? So it's your perception of that word.
Okay.
So for me, that perception of words brings negative, but for you, that perception of that word brings positive. You know, grind grind could mean motivation, and motivation is a positive thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
or grind could mean to crush, to pummel.
yeah, to crush like a diamond.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, if you grind and crush things, actually pressure makes diamond. I know it's a cliche.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, so at the end of the day, what you see, your perception of things, is how you will see the word, and you can always change that, can't you? And you can change anything.
Yeah.
It's what you give power, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything you could look back on over the last year that you could say you've mastered? What was the last thing, or the last skill, or the last task or project, or what was the last thing you mastered?
I think I've just realised it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to not have them skills and just go for it. There's people on social media like selling online courses with no degrees, no qualifications.
They just made that course overnight.
They make the course overnight.
A fee.
For a fee, but you know, I'm not judging them. We should never hate anyone's success.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think these people are in a position to teach people how relationships if they're not, you know, if they're not counsellors or not skills. But the thing is, I've always been hard on myself, where I have to get this right. I need to do this course. I need to show that I am this person before I'm in the position to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think you should just go forward.
Yeah.
You should just be a bull in the china shop and go forward with your passion and tenacity. You'll always find a way to make things happen.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I love you so much is because you're so confident and you're so strong, and I've always just looked up to you and been inspired and just always proud of the work that you put out through Enter Stage Right when I've been at your events, either as a performer or as someone attending. Like, I'm just, the excellence and the level that you go to with how you manage your team and how you produce work, I just think it's...
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing, it really is. So how did you get to that process? What's your process when you're going into starting a new project? How do you begin?
I am really confident, but you know, don't get me wrong, sometimes I have imposter syndrome. I'm shy sometimes when I'm speaking to executives, or if I want something from someone, I'm a bit like hesitant. But the thing is, I'm so ambitious. My point is over there, that I forget that I'm so ambitious. I'm so focused that I have no filter, and I need to get to the next step. So that's why people say I'm really confident. So, you know, actually coming in on this set with you, you know, I want it to look good. So I'm like, do you want me to help? Let's do it, you know. I'm really confident and focused. Well, I'm focused, and that's what makes me confident, you know, because I want to get to that point in wherever I want to be.
Yeah. So for people who maybe are still in a place that they feel slightly discombobulated, or they're not entirely sure, they don't know where they want to go, and they're just kind of coming to us now, or coming to this documentary or they've stumbled upon this conversation for inspiration, what would you say to a person who's at a place where they're not 100% with loving themselves?
I know what you're going to say. I'm gonna actually come in. I'm gonna interject there because I know what you're going to say.
Let's go.
And I actually do a few workshops at Birmingham City University with this.
Okay.
You know what you want deep down inside.
She gave the camera eye shot there.
So for instance, it's like if you say, what's the first number that comes into your head in 1 to 10? You can have a number, don't you?
Yeah.
So when you say to someone, what is your ultimate dream? The first thing comes into your head. And then the second thought is all these things that all these stories that people told you. Like for instance, people used to say, because I had dyslexia, people used to say that I'm not good at education, not good at maths. I told that story to myself for so many years.
Yeah.
And I feel like I waited so much time because I let someone else's perception be my perception. I've got a master's, I lecture in universities, even I've got a writing competition that's won loads of awards, you know, and I'm dyslexic. You know, it's a story you tell yourself. So what I would say is the first thing in your mind that you want, that you really dream of, that you think's not attainable is attainable, right? So even if you shoot for the moon, you're still going to land in the stars. So what I would say to you, whatever you want, you can have it. You just got to step into that person. Look, when you first started, when I first met you in NatWest, you've stepped into that person you want to be. Now it's just like the next level. Just step into the person you want to be. I would never pitch. You know, I was like, I'm not pitching. And my mentor said to me, Natalie, you're an actress. You've performed in front of 1,000 people, right? Just pretend to be the person that you want to be pitching. And because I'm an actress, the penny drops. And I went,
write a character and do it.
I am a creative entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur making things happen. And then I did the pitch like that straight away. So it is literally stepping into that person as you go, brick by brick. So whatever you want to do, go for it.
So I'm interested and probably a little bit nosy, but how do you start your days? How do you start the day?
Well, I think if you want to be successful, it's not so much about being the smartest or the best. It's all in your habits. So the first thing I do every day, I go to the gym. It's the first thing. That's my gateway habit. If I don't go to the gym, the rest of the day is going to be messed up. So the first thing I do is go to the gym, I'll go for a run, and the night before I write down a list of the things, the intentions of what I need to do my business. You know. So the first thing I do in the morning is drink a caffeine protein shake thing, and then I go to the gym. So
I know you've got a lot of experience in life and in the creative arts sector. You've worked in London, Paris, New York. You've worked around the country in theatre shows. What is, and this could be answered either from a professional perspective or personal, what is the longest lesson that has taken you to learn?
The longest lesson, I'll be honest, is maybe to first of all, have confidence in your skills. Because there's people out there doing things because, you know, they came out of their father's ball sack. And that sounds awful.
I was about to sip at that point, you know.
But the thing is, you know, there's people out there that are in the position they are because of who their parents are, you know.
When really it's nepotism.
Yeah, nepotism. You know, sorry for using crass language, but that's the truth. So, you know, if you look at someone and go, oh, they're really successful, you know, sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. They're in a position, that place because they're who they are. You've just got to be confident and just keep going with what you are, not compare yourself to other people. And also as well, what I would say is trust as well, you know, being professional. You know, even if if I'm working with you, I'm going to get you to sign a contract. You know, you can get ripped off, you know, if you don't get people to sign contracts. You know, if you're working with someone collaborating, they can steal your idea. And you know, I took a knock with that, you know, because I've known that person for a decade.
You put trust in that.
You put that
situation.
trust, but I think when you know, if you're becoming the next level of yourself, you want to be successful in business and a professional, you need to step into that person. You need to be that person and, you know, cover every base. But because my company, we've got film part of the company, we've got events part of the company, we've also got a teaching part of the company, we've got a writing part of the company, where script writing, that is, where people do, you know, workshops with writers and research and development. And then we have the online writing competitions and stage right. So my company is a project by project company. So for instance, if you know, if a corporate company said, we've got this gala, can you do it? I would hire the people in my circle that I trust to take on that
and
deliver that project.
Sure.
You know, say if, you know, the scripts that have come through Enter Stage Right in the various years, we've made some of them into films, I would, you know, commission, obviously I'll be executive producing, but I would commission a production company who I trust. I'll be on set most of the time to make them films.
Yeah.
So I always get people to sign contracts now, and I pretty much, you know, have quite high EQ. Probably not book smart, but I can read people most of the time.
Sure.
And I just, you know, that's how I work with people.
So how could we become more fertile in business as women?
Confidence with asking for more.
Okay.
So for instance, I was speaking to my mentor yesterday, and I was like, I want to make this kind of money, this amount of money in the next 3 years. And I was hesitant to say that. And I thought, I need to revisit that.
Yeah.
Why was I'm a very confident person.
Yeah.
You know.
Why was that amount too much
It wasn't like it was too much. It was a fact that I was like, I don't know. I was like, where's that come from? Obviously, there's some like blocks, you know, or abundant blocks. And I feel like that happens a lot with a lot of women.
Yeah.
There's a lot of abundant blocks where we don't ask what we want. Like a man would have no, you know, the man would be like, yo, this is £1 million. This is how much my contract is. Whereas women are like, oh, okay, then I do it for this, I do it for that. No, you just have to be really honest and say, you know, this is my price, this is how much I want to make, and just be confident. So I think the reason, and also as well, you know, I think the first step is to be confident with money and, you know, say what you want. And the second step is also as well, I feel like a lot of women in business feel like there's scarcity, there can only be one sometimes. So I think it's about training the mind that there's enough for everyone.
I feel like I, in some ways, can't split myself from myself. I am just me wherever I turn up. Like, there's never a NAMYWA different here to there. I'm just the same person. And what's brought out of me is based on who I'm meeting or the situation or the experience that I'm having. So I guess for me, that's me on my trajectory of law of attraction. That's my vibration, my frequency. And I'm really interested to know how you feel about spirituality in business, and whether you feel that there is a pull. Like, is law of attraction in business? What is that? Of
course it is. I don't know if you've heard of Neville Goddard.
Not until just then.
Neville Goddard is also, I've only just got into recently, he's this famous spiritualist, and he says that you have to just accept that this is going to happen. If you okay, I can't explain this, I'm not the most articulate person, but imagine, you know, whatever comes to you easily, you know, okay, I have a loving family, I have a loving family, that's a given, you know. And you know, you can go to your mom's house and your mom will be there like, oh, I'm going to cook dinner for you. And you don't even have to ask, you know it's going to be there. You have to amalgamate that mindset of like, I know that I'm going to go home, my mom's going to look after me at Christmas. So you need to, I know it sounds really bizarre, but you have to amalgamate that view with, I'm going to make 50K next year in my business minimum.
Done.
Do you know, but the thing is, you've got to have that kind of like relaxed attitude and acceptance as that. And it's quite hard to get your head around it, and it's a bit like the law of attraction, but it's a little bit different. We'll have to talk about it afterwards. But I do believe that you have to have a mindset where you think everything's going to happen for you. That's going to be good. It's going to be good. Whatever happens, it's going to be good. You know, something terrible. Like for instance with COVID. You know, a lot of creatives are worried, you know, understandable, but you've just got to believe that everything is going to work out for me. Everything is going to work out for me. And if you have that attitude and that mindset, I think it permeates the mind and things open up for you. You know, if you think in that direction, if you keep thinking, oh my God, COVID, you know, I'm not working, there's nothing happening, there's no jobs, you're going to attract that, you know, and it's very difficult to actually... It is difficult because if you turn on the news, that's all you see. So that also goes back to me, what do you surround yourself with? If you surround yourself with people who are go-getters, who are like, you know what, let's problem solve, let's move forward, it will permeate your mindset.
The habit blockers you spoke about, because I suppose if you turn on the news and then that puts you in a negative space.
Yeah, it's a vibration, it puts you in a lower vibration.
You might go and eat something perhaps that makes you feel better after that situation, or you might go into a different space after watching the news. So those trigger habits, having that less time of
Yeah,
doing that. If you know that that's a trigger for you, then yeah.
I agree. It's like, what's the first thing you do in the morning? Do you look at your iPhone?
Yeah.
You know, we just watch I don't know if you've watched Social Dilemma on Netflix.
I have, yeah.
If you go on your iPhone, if you're thinking, I'm worried about money, I'm worried about COVID, that's going to come up on your iPhone, you know, because you've been looking at it, and then you're going to see COVID, and it's going to be repetitive behaviour, and you're going to go down a downward spiral.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting with that documentary, because 4 years ago I went on a mindfulness retreat in Marrakesh with a company called Covert. And they took our phones off us for the whole time we were there, and it was all about learning how to plug off. And you'd actually really like the company. They've got beautiful jewellery, and it's got technology in it that buzzes to say like if I'm your number one contact, and then your partner is your let me reverse that. Your partner's your number one, I'm your number two, and I'm texting you, I buzz through so you know it's me, so that you don't have to be on your phone. But I learned a lot in that experience about technology and the mood that it makes you feel, and I'm very conscious about how emails make me feel when I get the notification, and the fact that we can't change the sound of the email notification on Google, on Gmail, kind of annoys me a bit. But yeah, just things like that for me, it's really interesting when Social Dilemma comes up, because for the people that are just a recipient of the internet, then it feels brand new. But I suppose if you're engaged in the conversation from beforehand, you know that the types of control that's there is really prevalent. It's always watching, it's always understanding you, and kind of just understand us more.
The thing is, now that you know the game, you know what at the end of the day, algorithms everywhere, but you know, it's in Uber, it's in Google, but now that you understand that, you can change that. It's not about you. Okay, we've got to be responsible. Another law of attraction thing is that we have to be responsible for our own feelings. Yeah. You know, I can't let you penetrate how I feel.
So yeah, I want to ask you about ethnic minority business in the West Midlands, and kind of get your perspective on it. What do you make of the ethnic minority business community here? Do you feel included? Do you feel tapped in? Yeah. We'll start with that, because that.
In the West Midlands, okay then.
Yeah, in the West Midlands.
In the West Midlands, okay. I've lived in the US. You know. Okay, I've lived in the US, and I feel like a lot of minorities, even I know it's quite polarized in the USA at the moment, but at least I don't think you should just stick to your own and work for everyone. Let me just get that clear. But a lot of the minorities in the USA, they really help each other. They help their own communities, like the Jewish community, the Nigerian community, the Asian community. They really empower each other in the US. So when I first came back to the West Midlands a few years ago, and I was in the NatWest, I had lots of people that helped me. But I felt like it was quite difficult to penetrate the West Midlands, like me personally, not just with minority groups, but on the whole. And when I first did what I was doing with Transition Stage Company, a lot of people from London endorsed me, and a lot of minorities from London endorsed me. Not many people in the West Midlands endorsed me at all. They didn't even support me. They weren't that interested. I don't know if they didn't like me. I don't know if, I'm too big for my boots. I'm quite confident. I'm like a born in a china shop. If I want something, I want it. I've got no filter. So that maybe. And the thing is, people don't have to help me because I'm a minority. Let's get that out there. But I felt like it's a bit of a closed shop here in the West Midlands, in my opinion. No one really. I could be wrong, because I feel everyone's. I think everyone's trying to make their way on the ladder. So they haven't got time to help other people, unfortunately, in some cases. It's quite it's quite lonely being a creative entrepreneur. Very lonely.
Can you speak on that a little bit more? And what do you mean by that?
First of all, the first step is trying to convince people that the creative industries is really important for the economy. People are only interested in sexy tech at the moment, But what people don't understand is that if you haven't got, the creative industries is the fastest growing industries in the UK, fastest growing industry in the UK before COVID. I don't know what that is now. And also, if you have a creative city, it boosts tourism. Therefore, if it boosts tourism, it boosts jobs. So then it becomes cool, good representation. Okay, look at Peaky Blinders. Look, for instance, that's look what that's done for Birmingham. When I was living in New York, people go to me, are you from Peaky Blinders? I'd be like, what? I didn't even watch it. But you know, imagine how much people know about that. So just from that one story. So how many more stories are there? So me even trying to convince people that the creative industries and the performing arts industries is so important was difficult for one step. And secondly, you know, then that's a small section. And secondly, it's trying to get people on your side. So it is really, really lonely. And it is, I felt like it was uphill battle. And that's why I'm quite proud of myself that I've managed to do something in the West Midlands. Even though I'm from Birmingham, I haven't lived here for years. I haven't lived in the UK for years. I came back to Birmingham 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and part of them 18 months I was doing a master's, so I'm virtually unknown. So for me to really do this, you know, and get the clout and get the certain people to back me, like Executive Channel 4 backed me, it was really, I'm quite proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too, honestly. You've done amazing with this, with the work, the ideas, and then also fitting in other things like life and wanting to travel and be a woman and grow and figure out who you are as well.
Also as well, you know, when you're first starting out, because I've got, you know, I've always been an entrepreneur, but you know, sometimes when you're speaking to business people and you want to get sponsorship or you want people to endorse you, if you haven't gone to a business school, sometimes you don't know the certain language to communicate with people, you know, and that could be a hindrance. You're creative, it's like two different worlds, so the jargon language is really different. So even communicating with these people, you know, especially a girl that's somewhat used to be a model, who's an actress, that's coming into the business world, that's a creative entrepreneur, then pitching to banks and going to networking events, people just look at you like, who are you?
Yeah, and
what are you trying to do? They don't get it, you know, they don't get it.
So I set up Girl Grind UK to be a platform to support women and girls on their personal and professional grind. And I would be really interested to just hear what you would expect from us as a company, and what is it that we need to be doing, and what is it that we should be doing?
I think first of all, you need to pinpoint what kind of businesses that these people want to make. This COVID has pushed us into the future by decades. I mean, like decades. Old systems and new systems are growing. You know, so first of all, you guys need to be on point with all that. You know, like the consumer industry is dying, and Amazon is just sucking all the hair out of the room. You know, it is what it is. You know, and then you know, Netflix is taken over. No, Cineworld's died. So you've got you're getting all these conversions of business. So first of all, you need to be on the point to know what people, because people could be starting businesses and doing degrees at universities, and then jobs not even going to exist next year because the economy and the tectonic plates have changed. So first of all, you need to know what's happening. Second of all, who are these girls you're trying to help? What are their interests in? You know, people need to know technology, computer sciences. They're really important things because we're in a digital age by decades. You know, maybe try and get investments where you can do workshops or get people to find out how they can get into these industries. You know. Also, you know, maybe have a mailing list where you tell people what funding's out there, and then that's 3 things, isn't it? And then maybe on the last one, maybe have an in-house bid writer.
Okay.
So for me, I'm really dyslexic. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, I can write. I've got a master's. I've got a degree. But the thing is, for me to sit there and it's so time-consuming. You know, I could do a bid writing letter, but it would probably take me like 2 days to do it. You give your bid right, it'll take her like 30 minutes to do it, you know, if you give all the information. So you just need to have all the platforms. You don't want to give anyone everything, you know, because you need people to work it out for themselves. I don't like giving a handout, it's about giving a hand up. So you need to put all these platforms in these pillars in your company to give people, you know, a hand up, so they can learn for themselves and they can go into the direction that they
want to. I love it. Thank you so much, Natalie. This is Girls on Their Grinds. I'm looking to the camera because Natalie gave you that stern eye earlier, saying, what was it you were saying at that time when you looked into the camera?
You always know what you want.
You always know what you want.
But you're just too scared to go for it.
Boom. No, seriously, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming.
Thank you.